Right, so this construction is called perpendicular lines. This is almost the same as perpendicular bisector. The only difference is this is perpendicular, a line perpendicular to a line through a point on the line. And look where that point is located. This point right here. Right, so that's where we want our line to go through. That is not, first of all, we don't have a segment, we have a line. Second of all, that is not the center. And anytime we have perpendicular lines, it's guaranteed that we have a bisector. And anytime we have a bisector, it's guaranteed it's perpendicular lines when we're doing a construction, right? That's not true all the time in other situations, but for the construction, that ends up being a 2-for-1. We get perpendicular lines and a bisector, right? So what we need to do is we need to create a segment. And we need to create a segment where that point is the center of the line. All right, or the line segment, excuse me, the center of the line segment. So this is almost the same as the other construction. There's just one step we have to do beforehand. And because we already have a point, and it's the one that is on that line there, we only end up having to draw one set of arcs, right? Because we already have a point, right? We don't need 2 points, we just need one more. All right, so let me go through this one. I'm going to do it on the second line, so I don't have to work at the top there. Looks like I left some dots behind the last time I've done this. And so the one difference, or one of our differences, is I need to create a segment. So I'm going to put that compass point on the point that we're given. I need to close this compass a little bit because I can't have the compass going off the line. Right? And I'm going to draw an arc. It doesn't matter where I draw this arc. It just cannot be at the edge of the line because you're likely to be off the line, and that's going to mess up the measurements. And you don't want it so close that it's too hard to work with. So I put it towards the edge of that line that we're given there, but not off of it. So that's a good spot, right? And you're going to draw an arc. Okay. You're going to keep your compass exactly the same, and you're going to draw another arc on the other side. It doesn't have to be a big arc. That's fine. They don't have to meet each other. If they did, they'd be a circle. But all we need are the 2 arcs. So now what we've done is this. Move without messing me up. Okay. So this, you go from center to edge of the circle. That's a radius. Center to edge of the circle. That's a radius. Right? Well, all radii, let's write this in somewhere where you're not blocking the constructions, wherever it fits in your paper. All radii of a circle, so if we have one circle, all the radii are congruent, right? So now we know that point's at the center. We've now got a bisector, right? So now that we've got a bisector, we can have perpendicular lines simply by making sure, right, we go through that point. And one other thing, we have to be an equal distance away from those 2 arcs we drew. Okay? All we have to do is use our compass. Right, so now you can change the compass measurement because this is probably too small. Right? I prefer it a little bit bigger, right? Because if it's a little bit bigger, I'm not going to be all cramped up there, and chances are my arcs will intersect. You're going to take your compass and you're going to put the point on the 1 arc, and you're going to draw a nice big arc so you make sure that they intersect. By the way, the arc could be above or below. It really doesn't make a difference. I tend to work below. Just think it's easier for me. If you truly like the arc to be above, it doesn't make a difference, right? So here I have an arc. Now, what's this distance? I changed the compass color. This distance here to anywhere on my arc, right? That was the center, right? This was the center of a circle right here where I just drew, right? And if I go anywhere on the arc, center to edge is a radius. Right? I flip the compass around and I move it just to the other side, right? So where the arc intersects the circle, and I draw another arc. Now I didn't change the arc in any way, and I really hope, ooh, it's going to be close. Oh, just barely. Just barely. That's why I said make sure you make a big enough arc. And I really didn't make a big enough arc. But just barely they intersect. Now, what I could do is flip my compass around. Man, how did it end up this way? Oops. If I wasn't sure, I think I'd like it to be the same color. I could always make the arc a little bit bigger. Right? Sometimes that's a little harder with the other compasses. I mean, you can go back and fix that, just so long to make sure it's on the same arc. But if you draw a big enough arc, you won't have to worry about it. So one difference is we had to create a segment. Right? So drawing the first set of arcs creates a segment. I'll put it over here with the notes. Right? So this, where we drew the arcs here, this creates a segment. You can add that to your notes even if you didn't do this construction. I'm almost done with this construction, but I'm not quite done. This creates a segment. That's why we did the first thing. And this right here is the center. All right, so that's right at the center. Right? So this is congruent to this, and we talked about because it's the radius of a circle are congruent. Right, so now when I draw my line, it's going through this. I should have put a point. Hold on 1 second. I guess it'll be blue. It's going to go through the point we're given. Oh, come on. Move over just a wee bit. There we go. Through the point we're given and through those two arcs, right? So this point, I hate to draw it on that picture, so I'm going to do it on this one. This to this, that distance, I should use a line tool, man. Let's do that. Use a line tool. Can I change the color? I can. All right. So this distance from here to here is the same as this distance from here to here. Again, because these are radii. This was the center of a circle. This was the center of a circle. And that point there is the edge of the circle. So we essentially have two circles here. Center, center. So we've created two congruent circles. That's why those are the same distance away. As soon as we know that this and this, those two lines are the same distance, we know, so these are congruent. These are congruent. That segment, that line that we just drew, has to be, first of all, bisecting our segment, which is when we do a construction, if we bisect the segment, we automatically, oh, sorry about that, get perpendicular lines. I must have hit it with my arm. I didn't even see it. I was looking at that. At my picture I just drew there. Right? So this is perpendicular lines. It is almost the same as if we did the perpendicular bisector. Let's add one thing on here, and that is that the lines here are perpendicular. So if this is point A, and this is point B, and this is point M for the middle, and this is point C, we would know that AB is perpendicular to MC. And that was our whole point, was to create perpendicular lines. It also works out that we have a bisector, not of our line, but of the segment we drew. All right, so that's it for perpendicular lines. It's almost the same construction. It's just you got to create a segment, and you only need one set of arcs because you already have a point on the line to draw the line through. All right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.